All right. What is going on, especially with all these tariffs? So, my name's Ed Huck with Keller Williams, and I'm here to explain to you our tariffs affecting our real estate market. Let's dive right into this with your May 2025 real estate market update. So, mortgage rates. So, tariffs have affected mortgage rates. So, with everything's going on with the stock market and the bond market, rates have ticked up. Rates are at about 6.9% this week, which is about up almost a quarter of a percent from where it was mid-April. But they've kind of leveled off. Actually, ever since probably, beginning of 2024, they've been in that, right around 7, down to 6.5, back up to almost a 7. So we're seeing everything kind of fluctuate in that high 6% range. Number of new listings currently for sale is about the same as it was this last year to date versus this year to date. The big interesting thing to notice is the number of available homes this year to date versus last year to date is up 22%. So there's more homes sitting on the market available to see today than there were last year. If you look at the rolling 12, it's about the same story there. Number of homes pending. So when they go under contract, we call those pendings, and the number of homes sold. So this year to date versus last year to date, the pendings are about the same. It's only up 0.04%. So it's not much. And then this is something to pay attention to, though. The number of homes transferred this year to date versus last year to date is down 7.3%. And if you look at the rolling 12, pendings are down this year about 2% versus last year, and only down about 4% for the solds. So what this tells me is things are slowing down this year versus last year. Number of homes sold. So again, number of homes transferred. You can see this graph here. This graph goes out for the last 10 years. Ever since about 2020, though, we've been stumbling about the same amount of available homes year after year. Except you can see here, what we look is the difference between the light green and the dark green. Hard to see if you're looking down a phone on this, but if you look towards 2023, 24, 25, you can see that gap between the light green and the dark green starting to get bigger month over month. What that again tells us is that we might have hit the bottom of the market. Average sale price, though, we didn't hit the bottom of the market for sale prices. So sale prices are still headed up. This year to date versus last year to date, we're up about 6.4%. The rolling 12 was up 7.8%, though. So what this again tells me is that we're starting to slow down our appreciation rate. Days on market is flat this year versus last year. Months worth of inventory. So this is how we track if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. And it is starting to lean towards towards a neutral market. It's been such a strong seller's market for the last almost 5 years that it's bound to start to shift back towards a neutral market. And we're really starting to see signs that's happening. If you look back here on this graph, if you look at back close to 2015, we were in what was called a neutral market. If it takes less than between 3 and 6 months to sell off our current inventory, we call that a neutral market. You can see in about 2019, this is actually before COVID, we started to slide into a seller's market. COVID shot us into this really, really strong seller's market. And you can start to see those waves that you see are in the winter it takes a little bit longer to sell off our inventory than it does in the summer. So you're seeing the natural cycles of up and down and up and down. But what you're starting to see is the bottoms in 23 and 24 are lower than the bottom in 2025, which again starts to tell me we've hit bottom and pendulum is starting to swing back towards a neutral market. Recap, mortgage rates still in the high 6s. Less homes are selling this year, and last year was one of the slowest number of transfers on record. There's more homes to see. So it's kind of interesting. There's less homes coming on the market, and then more homes are sitting on the market. But home prices are still headed up. It's still a strong seller's market. Again, maybe starting to slide towards a neutral market. And again, the wild card continues to be the tariffs and the economy. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to favorite Ed Huck Team Realtor. We are here for you. And this data is also, I was actually looking at some other markets today, and this is Northeastern Ohio, basically. If you drill down into certain price ranges in certain cities, you really need to know the data, because each real estate is really, really geographically driven, right? So there's price points in Cleveland or Northeastern Ohio that are on fire. There's other price points that are a little bit slower. So make sure your agent knows all this data. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Enjoy the week. Thanks.